The business side would not thrive as well as it would if it wasn't for its media arm, but the media arm wouldn't exist without the business. And that's almost completely cyclical.
It's gone all sorts of crazy. Gotta stick to it. Drive wrap. He scores. Butterfly out of the block, out of the board. 4-0. He scores.
There aren't too many corporations or businesses that don't have some sort of media presence. You know why that is? Because if I'm not thinking about it, you probably don't have a media presence. But the better your business is, the better your media should be to tell people about how good it is. And then on the other end, the better your media gets, the better your business becomes because more people are ingesting your content and hearing about you. If you have a great media team, that's fine. But if your business isn't worth anything and your business goes under, you can have the most viral media team in the world, but they weren't able to save the business. Because it obviously depends on the business or the entity or the enterprise, whatever it is in general. And then the media arm is a facet of it, but it starts to cycle some stuff back, not on a lifeblood basis, but on a content and growth basis. Absolutely. Usually our season is between late October and early April. Playoffs will end late April, early May. So that is your events mode for games. That is, we're bringing people out to the games. We want to get people excited about this team. If the team goes on like a 4 or 5 game winning streak, that obviously helps generate natural buzz on top of the stuff we're already trying to do to get the word out to people and, get people to come to the games, to follow us on social media. So there's a lot that goes into that. And then in the May to November side, that backside, that off season, social media really becomes keeping those fans that we have that are of the team interested in making sure that, hey, don't forget about us. Season's only 3 months away. Season's only 2 weeks away. And we're trying to produce all this sort of content that, we wouldn't normally produce during the season, because while it can seem like filler stuff, it also is the stuff we have time to produce, because during the season, you're regimented every week. You're either at home, on the road, and each of those present different challenges to what you put out content-wise, to what your people are doing to get ready for the games, or maybe you're on the road and maybe the road crew, myself, I go with the team broadcasting, and there's a core staff that makes sure that the team goes around, and again, we do media all the time with that. We're trying to make it high effort filler stuff, stuff that will keep you excited, stuff that's different, unique.
Get it, loser, we're going to playoffs.
Let's go, baby.
What's interesting now is with Ignite Sports having a baseball team and a hockey team, basically it's in season mode 10 out of the 12 months out of the year. I mean, you're talking about 1, maybe 2 months total where you don't have games to be prepping for. So in a way, the media side of it and what we try to do with it takes the in-season work and make sure you keep building on it. And then what would be the off-season for that sport, all you do is you transition to in-season in another sport. So it's a little bit shifting of attention, but at the same time, it's always keeping up the content streams to keep people interested and engaged and make sure they know that you have a team there that they enjoy. And again, hopefully they tell their friends, and that's how word of mouth happens. Here with Ignite Sports, I definitely think that they value their coverage, they value getting the word out about themselves, whether it's first party through ourselves or whether it's third party through the different TV stations and anchors that follow us, to hearing about us on the radio, getting covered in newspaper, or other teams, other organizations, other groups around here sharing our social media content. If we put out something and the local soccer team or the local football team puts something out about it, that's helping to integrate that sense of community. And when you're local, that's what you have is your community. You have to hammer that hard. So that's where media looks out, is towards the community, and it looks in towards the business.
Apologies to those of you all throughout West Georgia and East Alabama. Back Jensen shot, save made Young, score! Austin Doe, 3-0, blows it through Joe Young.
Joe Young wishes he has that one back. That's not a goal he normally gives up, Zach. And you know what, we'll take it. That's a 3-0 lead. I think that changes the landscape of the game right now. You hope the Dragons don't drop back and play rope with them. They're still still 44 minutes of hockey left.
There's a lot of thought that goes into it, and even a single post, especially if it's an important post, you vet it. You vet everything from the artwork in the picture to the caption, what it says, what its call to action is. If there's a link back, if there's a tag, there's so much that goes into it. Social media's evolved so much. Now all of a sudden, social media is like your absolute presence in everything. And when you're representing a business or a company or any entity at large that's not you, you have to take a lot of things into consideration. You have to be, I don't want to say careful with your words, but very well selected. Your words have to be very well selected. Recently, the River Dragons put out a mic'd up video for one of our players. Now, everyone and their mother who follows hockey has seen some sort of NHL mic'd up, AHL mic'd up. It's cool stuff. You literally hear exactly what the players are saying on the ice.
Nothing new here. Hey, how'd you guys get off of Foot Locker so early?
You don't mess with the athlete because whether they win or lose dictates your fans' morale, dictates how well you might do in the front office and other, business acumen.
Yeah, right back. Here we go, Frenchie. Here we go. Yep.
I had 2 hours, 45 minutes of ISOCAM footage on him, the mic'd up audio, and then obviously the broadcast view as well to splice in. That's over 5 hours of content that you've got to whittle down. And I whittled that down to about a 20, 21 minute video, and there's a lot of effort that goes into that. There's a lot of sweat behind an editing computer. And 21 minutes of your life to watch it maybe took me a good handful of hours to actually produce it. So it's definitely a lot more effort, I think, than some people realize. It's good to get in a flow if you have content that is easy to make and is digestible and keeps people engaged. Absolutely keep doing that. But for special one-off projects like that, it takes a lot, and some people might not realize. At the minor league level that we are in, when you work in the front office of any sports team, you're going to be asked to do a lot of different things. You have a lot of hats you wear. Your tentacles in a lot of different things, if you will. My main job is the team's communications, what we put out through social media, what we put out through press releases, what we set up with team interviews, player interactions with the media, and then obviously my play-by-play role with the team on game days and traveling with them and writing up press releases on how they do. If they win games, they lose games, if we make trades, if we do an event and we're able to donate to a cause or a nonprofit, all of that communication sort of falls on me. There's a lot of people that help do it, but usually if something is like, hey, this needs to be out there, I'm the one who has to execute, make sure it gets on time. Then there's some other things too. Obviously I do sales for the team just like everybody else does. And I mean, on a game day, you name it, it seems like I'm helping out with it if they ask me. Everything from creating Jumbotron graphics to maybe some tech support here and there. There's a lot of stuff, but mainly with the Vice President of Communications, it's media releases, it's social media, and of course it's play-by-play. It's my voice you hear while the team is playing.
A minute left to go in the first, then there was one penalty in the second, and one penalty in the third. Total game time from puck drop to final.
You have to be good members of the community. Because again, your community is really all you have. When you're local, you might be able to jump as a sports organization, go over to the next town, but you're still starting from scratch. If you're like, for example, here in Columbus, and you try and move the team to Albany, for example, like 2 hours down the road, okay, that whole fan base you had in Columbus, they're not following you to Albany, and you've got to rebuild something in Albany. So that's the very extreme measure of it, and ideally, in a perfect world, doesn't happen. I think for a local organization here, the most important thing is obviously with your community. The whole Columbus area has so many different good things about it. Be one of those good things.
I think this is the wrong story. No, we're just going to go with this one? All right, I guess I'll keep reading. They hung up their gear because practice seemed done. They didn't get to scrimmage. Now they don't know who won. Yeah, this definitely isn't the right one.
I think that is one key factor, is that this is your home. You have to make sure you are a good member inside your home. Some of your challenges are then getting that word out past those people, because you always have your diehards, that's fine, but you still need to expand your audience. You always need to keep growing. So whether it be through word of mouth, through traditional media, through social media, you have to keep getting out there in the community, finding ways to tell people, hey, this sport is back, hockey is back.
It's got all sorts of crazy.
And this is all the referees referee's fault because they never control the game, Zach.
Look at this. Looks like MJ Graham and Shinkarik were feeding each
For some organizations, they absolutely get down into the nitty gritty, and it's great to do that. But you can also get away with not doing it. I think at some sports levels, minor leagues, you can't. You have to do it if you want to continue your growth and continue to foster that good intention and goodwill with the community. It's important to stay on your toes essentially that way. So in the physical sense of platforms we're using, the game itself is our biggest platform. When people come out, they are taking in all of our content, whether it be our advertisers and partners here that have logos and signage and messages throughout the arena, to the stuff we want them to know about the teams, who we're featuring, who our best players are, if we're on a hot streak, if we've won 5 out of our last 6 games, all that sort of stuff. So the actual game itself is a platform and gets people excited to come to them because they're events. It's not just a hockey game, a baseball game. There's a ton of other stuff, and we want to get people basically addicted to that content and want to get them to keep coming back because they love the team, they love that it represents their community, all that sort of stuff. After you get out from there, because obviously you got everything from the Jumbotron to ice logos and everything in between, our main broadcasts are put up on YouTube, and we do a lot of different video projects through YouTube in the off season. In terms of our main output of messaging, if fans need to know about news, if we made a trade, they're going to see about it on there. We also use email marketing, we use a little bit of text marketing here and there. So, there's a lot of different platforms that we reach out to. And I think some people maybe see again how low level that some of this stuff is and think it's also a low level production on the back end. It's not true. We're doing as much as we can with the bodies we have to make sure that people know about us, and we have all these different avenues to utilize to make sure the word gets out because some people aren't on social media anymore. Some people don't have an email address. You have to find ways to be able to connect with those people, whether it be at the game, through social media, or through some sort of third party, because we also do stuff on television and on radio locally too.